The Battle of Naboo had ended, and the Trade Federation had been defeated. The mysterious Sith Lord, Darth Maul, had been bested in his duel by the young Jedi, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Rushing to his master's side, the young Padawan saw his master on the ground, wounded, but thankfully the wound was not fatal. His master Qui-Gon would live, although he needed healing. More importantly, a new mission was about to begin, the training of Anakin Skywalker, the Chosen One. Qui-Gon Jinn was about to take a new Padawan learner. Anakin Skywalker's life was always one of struggle, growing up a slave on Tatooine, although he had a loving mother who provided as much as she could. However, he always wanted more. When Qui-Gon Jinn and his companions came that day, everything changed for the young child. For Anakin was always different. With intuition and skills far beyond any human, it was revealed to him by Qui-Gon that he had Force-sensitive abilities. Not only that, but his high midichlorian count meant that he was more in tune with the Force than any other Force-sensitive his age, even more perhaps than the wise Master Yoda. Now living the life of a Jedi, Anakin finds himself being taught by one of the most interesting masters in Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon had always been a bit of a maverick as a Jedi, never one to completely follow the rules. He's someone who believes in following the cosmic force and always listening for its guidance, even if that means going against the will of the Jedi Council, who he sees as a bit too distracted with the politics of the Republic, instead of being what a Jedi is meant to be. Meanwhile, Qui-Gon's former apprentice, Obi-Wan Kenobi, has risen to the rank of Jedi Knight and become powerful and wise. Anakin and Obi-Wan develop a relationship somewhat like siblings with each other, as Qui-Gon is a father figure to both of them. However, while Anakin and Obi-Wan will have known each other as members of the Jedi Order, they won't grow as close as they would have, with Kenobi going off on his own path as a Jedi Knight. During this time, however, things are not all well. For while the Sith may have been defeated, they're not destroyed. Darth Sidious, the Dark Lord of the Sith, continues without Maul as scheduled. While he may have lost Darth Maul, he still has former Jedi Master turned Separatist, Count Dooku of Sereno, on his side. The clone army, which will be pivotal to his plan to overthrow the Jedi, continues to be in development. Meanwhile, his new apprentice begins to lay the seeds for the Separatist crisis. However, the former Padawan turned Jedi activist is not as fully committed to the dark side, still hoping his former Padawan, Qui-Gon, would join him and be a powerful ally. Though crisis remains over the horizon on Coruscant and in the Republic, Anakin's journey continues to unfold. Anakin was too old to start training and found comfort in Qui-Gon, who understood the many conflicting emotions that still festered deep within him. Feelings about his mother, who he missed, as well as the former Queen of Naboo, Padme, who he had developed a crush on during their first adventures. These emotions would come to a head when Qui-Gon and Anakin are asked to protect now Senator Padme Amidala after an assassination attempt. While many are unsure who was behind the attack, the two Jedi are ordered to protect her. Anakin, of course, immediately begins to have feelings for Padme, though through Qui-Gon's training he is able to dismiss these feelings. During this time, it would seem that Chancellor Palpatine tries to become close to Anakin as well. However, for the most part, he keeps his distance from the young Padawan. Qui-Gon is a wise man, one of the few genuine threats to Palpatine's grand plan. But that did not stop the Chancellor and Dark Lord of the Sith from watching the Chosen One's career with great interest. However, as the mysterious assassination begins to unravel, Qui-Gon Jinn takes it upon himself to find the assailant and stop him. To that end, he requires the help of his former apprentice, Obi-Wan Kenobi, who takes him to an old friend of his, Dexter Jettster, leading the former master and apprentice to a strange planet named Kamino. Qui-Gon, who at this point is confident in Anakin's abilities and trusts him with the protection of Padme on Naboo, with Obi-Wan as well. While Obi-Wan and Anakin guard Padme on Naboo, the young Jedi Knight begins to develop feelings for the Senator. Though keeping with his master's training, he does try his best to control the situation and make sure Obi-Wan, who is the senior of the mission, doesn't find out. During this time, Anakin does talk about his feelings on the situation in the galaxy, feeling that the Jedi need to take a more forceful stand against the Separatists, something Obi-Wan and Padme very much disagree with him on. As they stay on Naboo, Anakin is haunted by visions of his mother dying on Tatooine, and yearns to do something about it, but is unsure lest he forsake the mission. Eventually, it is Padme who decides to visit Tatooine. While Obi-Wan protests, he's forced to follow Padme. Thus he too must come along. Meanwhile, on the planet Kamino, Qui-Gon Jinn is on the hunt for the assassin, and finds the mysterious Kaminoan people, as well as the clone army ordered by the Jedi Master Sifo Dyas. Qui-Gon knows that Sifo Dyas is an old friend of his former master, Count Dooku, and begins to have suspicions. He's also alarmed by the idea of the Jedi even having an army, let alone commanding one in war. He immediately begins to investigate the matter, as well as track down the bounty hunter, Jango Fett, who he follows to the mysterious world of Geonosis. While on Geonosis, QuiGon finds to his shock and horror that his former master, Count Dooku, the leader of the Separatist movement, has turned to the dark side. The reunion, of course, isn't the best for QuiGon, since he's being held hostage by the Geonosians. However, Dooku ensures that he isn't hurt in any way. If anything, Dooku would want his former Padawan to join him, hoping that he'd be a powerful ally, but Qui-Gon refuses. You see, Qui-Gon Jinn is many things, and while he does not always agree with the Order, he's not about to betray them either. The Jedi are still his family, and despite their faults, he remains loyal to the Order. Though Dooku is crafty, he reveals that a Sith Lord is manipulating the Senate, one by the name of Darth Sidious. Qui-Gon, shocked and intrigued at the revelation, but still refuses to join his master. Regardless, Dooku decides to keep him around, hoping that Qui-Gon will see reason. On Tatooine, Anakin finds Shmi, but it's too late. She's already dead, and for a brief moment the young Jedi feels a twinge of anger. But through Qui-Gon's training can control it. Only a small fraction of dark energy manages to overcome him before it completely consumes him. He manages to bring the body back and escape the Tuskens before they catch wind. After a small burial, Anakin tries his best to move on. However, while his feelings towards his mother are still there, his feelings for Padme continue to only grow as the romantic relationship starts to develop. Of course, the small respite does not last long. News appears from Qui-Gon, who before getting captured managed to send a message to the Jedi Council and Anakin that he is on Geonosis and the major corporations have pledged their armies to Count Dooku in hopes of forming an army greater than any in the galaxy. Despite their misgivings, both Anakin and Obi-Wan wish to save their current and former master with Padme along to aid them. Arriving on Geonosis, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme all immediately find themselves captured by Count Dooku and are reunited with Qui-Gon, taken to an arena to be executed. Count Dooku still wants to try to get his former Padawan to join him, yet Qui-Gon refuses, for he's still loyal to the Republic and the Jedi for all their flaws. A battle occurs in the Geonosis arena, but the Jedi arrive and rescue hostages. Not only that, but they bring with them the clone army from Kamino as well. Qui-Gon still had questions, and so as the battle raged on the planet, he and his current and former Padawans went to chase Count Dooku, hoping to bring him in and question him. He didn't want to join the Separatists, but Qui-Gon did wonder just who this Dark Lord controlling them was. Thus, a 1-versus-3 duel began, with Count Dooku going up against Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Anakin. Anakin, impulsive and reckless, was taken out easy, leaving Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. However, the former Jedi turned Count was a master duelist and strong in the Force, still teaching his former Padawan a few tricks or two. For Obi-Wan, this felt very much like a return to the duel against the Sith Lord on Naboo. Throughout the duel, Qui-Gon tries to get Dooku to end this madness, but his former master is too far gone at this point. A dark power was rising, Dooku would claim, as the duel continued. When Qui-Gon says that he remains with the light, Dooku does the unthinkable and strikes him down. Though it was with hesitation, it was a sign of how far Dooku was willing to go to complete his secret mission. Dooku would sadly escape. Even with the aid of Master Yoda, the Jedi were unable to capture him. Obi-Wan felt the loss of his former master, but he knew that he would have to move on for the sake of himself and the Republic. Anakin, for his part, would become devastated by the loss of their master. Worse, a war had now broken out in the Republic, and the galaxy had been thrown into chaos. So in an act of young impulsiveness, he gives in to his emotions towards Padme and marries her. For several years, the war dragged on, and Anakin began to change. Without his master to guide him, he had to grow up fast, dealing with battles that were perhaps some of the most deadly the galaxy had seen since the Old Republic. Throughout the war, Anakin would deal with loss after loss after loss, and lose a lot of what he considered stability in both his life and the galaxy as a whole. Worse to him, at least, it seemed the Jedi didn't want to do anything about it. Only one man seemed to be pushing for some sort of stability and peace, the kind that Anakin craved for himself in the galaxy, and that was Chancellor Palpatine. You see, Palpatine throughout the war had grown close to Anakin, as Anakin himself had become a top general in the Grand Army of the Republic. Palpatine, throughout the war, seemed to be a man of action, who was going to bring the Republic victory, maybe even make it better. Anakin also begins to suspect that the Jedi may not be the most capable to handle the war. Not only that, they may not be the organization he once believed in, at all. Years pass, and Anakin's faith in Palpatine grows as his faith in the Jedi begin to diminish. And finally, the ultimate showdown occurs over Coruscant, as Count Dooku captures Palpatine on board his flagship, the Invisible Hand. It's there that Anakin has a chance to avenge his master Qui-Gon, and after a heated duel, kills Count Dooku and rescues Palpatine. By this time, Anakin is tired, exhausted, and willing to do anything to have the war over with. and regain some stability in his life. Not only that, but Padme is pregnant, and thus his determination to find peace in the galaxy now only grows. Palpatine, though, begins to sense this and tries to bring Anakin closer to his side, stating the Jedi are not who they seem and are unable to end the war. Thus, more and more, Palpatine takes Anakin into his confidence. Worse, the Jedi themselves don't trust Palpatine either and ask Anakin, who is the closest to the Chancellor, to spy on him. Anakin's loyalties are torn, but he's becoming more determined to end the war. The breaking point comes with the death of General Grievous at the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's now or never the war ends. But something feels out of place. Anakin discovers what it is when Palpatine reveals that he is the Sith Lord, Darth Sidious, saying that he will use the dark side to bring peace to the Republic and the Jedi will only bring chaos. While at first Anakin is unsure, his negative feelings are justified when Mace Windu and a group of Jedi Masters decide to overthrow the Chancellor when the Sith reveals himself. In an act that would change the galaxy, Anakin stops Mace Windu, declaring his loyalty to Palpatine and the dark side. Now Anakin is ready to begin his journey as a Sith Lord. To end the war, he must wipe out the Jedi Order. While he and members of the 501st Legion march upon the temple, Palpatine executes Order 66, wiping out most of the Order and its masters. Only Obi-Wan and Yoda will survive. With power secured, Palpatine declares the First Galactic Empire and begins to bring his version of peace to the galaxy under his tyrannical rule. Obi-Wan now, the last heir to Qui-Gon's legacy, remains. And now he must take down his former friend and brother, Anakin. He finds him on the lava planet of Mustafar, being confronted by his wife Padme. The two Jedi clash, each battling the other, both the heirs of Qui-Gon Jinn. It's a duel for the ages, the last in the era of heroes. Both are skilled, but in the end it is Obi-Wan who has the upper hand and the high ground. In a bad move, Anakin leaps to attack his former friend from above, but loses control. Obi-Wan slicing his legs off and sending him down to the lava banks of the planet, leaving him there to burn and die. It's harsh for Obi-Wan, like Qui-Gon. He believed that Anakin was the chosen one. Though Anakin is burned and wounded, he does live, and truly becomes the monster Darth Vader, who reigns supreme over the new empire with Palpatine. But not all hope is lost, for new champions of the light will emerge in the form of his twin children, Luke and Leia. Though they will be separated and go into hiding for a few decades, they will arise and bring a new era to the galaxy. Once again, thank you for watching. If you think this video would have played out differently, please mention it in the comments below. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon to stay up to date with all of our content. Again, I'm James. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.